Hajime Nagumo, a normal 17-year-old otaku who spends his days going to school, is abruptly transported to a magical realm alongside the rest of his classmates. They are there recognized as heroes and given the mission of preserving humanity. While all his peers get spectacular powers beneficial in battle, Hajime is only given mere transmutation talent with no attacking power. During an expedition, Hajime's horror swiftly turns into a nightmare in the Great Orcus Labyrinth. He is betrayed by one of his classmates, plunging him to the depths of an abyss. Hajime finds himself surrounded by darkness and monster-like animals. He sees a rabbit and wonders what it is doing there. However, Nagumo soon learns it is a monster when it kills off 2 wolves and eats them as prey. Soon, the rabbit gets eaten by a larger beast bear. Nagumo thinks that this is where his life will end. The bear approaches him, and as Nagumo tries to run away, it bites off his arm and eats it. Nagumo uses his transmutation skill to divert the bear, but it is pointless. He seeks refuge in a cave where he sees the gland's crystal and gets reminded of how his class betrayed him. Angered, he promises himself to stay alive no matter what. He traps 2 beasts by making them fall into the gland's crystal and eats them. They taste disgusting, but Nagumo is determined to stay alive. He soon starts feeling queasy and thinks he is about to die. However, Hajime soon realizes that he has gotten even better. He feels lighter, his hair turns white, and he looks like a demon. His skills get an upgrade, and he acquires all the skills of the monsters he had just killed. He makes some weapons for himself and then challenges the bear to a rematch. Using his newly acquired skill, Nagumo chops off the bear's arm and eats it. Then he kills off the rest of it too. Back on the surface and at Tortoise School, the Pope prepares the students against a fight with the demons. Shizu recalls what happened when she and her classmates were met with the behemoth at the Great Orcus Labyrinth. She recalls how Kaori tried her best to save Hajime and was made unconscious so she would not go after him into the abyss. Kaori wakes up after 5 days and is saddened to hear that Hajime could not make it back. She says she can't be sure whether he is alive or not until they check for themselves. She promises to get stronger so she can look for him. Hajime continues to kill monsters and acquire new skills. He realizes he is at least 50 levels down in the Great Orcus Labyrinth. He collects mana and uses them to unlock a gate. Upon entering the room beyond, he sees a girl with all 4 limbs bound. She begs Hajime to help her, but he walks away. She pleads again, and Hajime turns back to her when she tells him she was betrayed. She tells Hajime she is a vampire loyal to her kingdom, but they soon get tired of her. They told her that she was too dangerous and locked her up there. She begs Hajime to release her and promises to do anything for him. Using his newly found powers, Hajime frees the vampire and asks her name. The vampire says she doesn't want anything to do with her old name and asks Hajime to give her a new one. Hajime names her Yue, which means the moon. However, setting Yue free is not that easy. Hajime soon gets showered with a storm of daggers from another monster. Yue feeds on Hajime's blood to get some power and then builds a shield that protects them from the monster. She also uses her magical skills to kill it. Hajime uses the dead monster to make a new and better gun. Hajime asks Yue if she can help him find a way back. Yue tells him that the Mavericks took shelter in the lowest parts of the labyrinth. She tells him that if they could go down there, she could use her magical powers to find a way back up. Hajime tells Yue about his friend's betrayal in his expedition to the labyrinth. He also tells her he does not want to take revenge anymore and wants to find a way back home. He also promises to take Yue with him. On their way to the deepest floor, Hajime and Yue encounter dinosaur creatures with flowers on their heads. Hajime realizes that the flowers mean they have been poisoned and controlled by someone. In trying to outrun the dinosaurs, Yue gets poisoned too. However, Hajime kills off the poison maker and saves Yue once again. Yue and Hajime finally reach the Maverick's lair. However, their hopes of going to the surface get crushed when they encounter a large monster with 5 dragon heads. At first, Hajime thinks he can easily fight with this monster. He even manages to kill 3 of the heads. However, 1 white dragon head heals the other 3 almost instantaneously. Still, Hajime does not give up, and with Yue, manages to kill 4 of the 5 heads. The fifth and strongest dragon head, however, crushes Hajime's dreams of trespassing the lair when he attacks Hajime to the extent that his newly made gun crumbles to pieces, and one of his eyes gets busted. Blood covers Hajime. Yue realizes that she will lose Hajime and tries her best to bring him back to consciousness. She feeds him portions and uses her magic too. She then tries to fight the dragon head with Hajime's pistol, but it is of no use. Instead, the dragon sets the place ablaze. Apologetically to Hajime, Yue starts crying. That triggers something inside Hajime, who wakes up, refreshed. He tells Yue to suck on his blood so she may use her magic. He then shoots at the dragon's head and uses his transmutation skills to crush the monster under some rocks. Yue further uses her magical powers and kills the dragon. Back on the surface, Kaori prepares to go to the deep abyss to find Hajime. Hajime wakes up in the Maverick's bed. After killing the five-faced dragon, Yui put him to rest. Hajime and Yui explore the Maverick's mansion and find his corpse on a chair, as if he was waiting for someone to come. Hajime sees some relics and stands on top of them to activate them. That unlocks an image of the Maverick, who introduces himself as Oscar. He says that he wants to let whoever comes here enjoy his life, and thus entrusts him with all his power and property. He also gives him his ring, the key to the Great Orcus Labyrinth. In this way, Hajime becomes the owner of Oscar's lair. He spends the next 2 months learning from Oscar's library and preparing himself to face the challenges ahead. He also learns the ancient magic of making artifacts and makes himself a robotic arm. On their way to the labyrinth, Kaori and her classmates face the behemoth once again. However, this time, the team did not give up. They remind each other of their strengths and kill it. Hajime and Yue stand on the relics in the Maverick's mansion once again and promise to face all odds alongside each other. Hajime and Yue finally make it to the surface and are overjoyed. Before they can do anything else, a girl approaches them, begging them to help. She is Shei of the Haulia tribe and can see the future. Her tribe was under attack by monsters, and she had foreseen Hajime saving her tribe. After her constant pleading, Hajime agrees to fight the monsters and succeeds in doing so too. However, the people of Haulia want Hajime to teach them some skills and ask him to stay back. Hajime trains the Haulians to kill the monsters. He tells them that if they are not strong enough, they will get killed instead. Yue teaches Shei how to duel, and finally, the tribe is strong enough to kill monsters on their own. Hajime realizes that he will have to visit all other labyrinths to find the stone that unlocks the gate to his home. He excuses himself from the tribesmen and sets off. However, Shei insists she wants to tag along too and joins Hajime and Yue on their journey. Hajime, Yue, and Shei reach the Great Racin Labyrinth. They meet Milady Raisin, who annoys Shei by using her powers. In the depths of the labyrinth, Yue's magic becomes weak, so the group has to rely on Shei's dueling skills. However, despite Shei overcoming multiple obstacles for the group, Milady leads them to the same room they started in. After a long struggle, the group faces Milady herself, who hides in armor. After a long duel, the three manage to tackle her, and she gives them the ring that belongs to the labyrinth. Then she sends them off back to the surface. Hajime meets a guild who tells him he has a task for him. He wants him to search for Will Kudeta, an important figure and the guild's friend. Hajime agrees in exchange for the guild's full support in the future. Hajime, along with Yui and Shei, look for a place with good rice. At the restaurant, he finds Aiko, his sensei from school. She recognizes Hajime, but Hajime pretends not to know her. He eventually relents, and Aiko tries to convince him to return to school with him. Hajime tells her about Oscar and that he is trying to find his way home. He also tells her that he did not fall into the abyss accidentally, but got thrown by one of the students, and asks her to warn Shizu and Kaori, who had gone to the labyrinth, to be careful. He sets off to find Kudeta, but Aiko and some other students insist on joining him. The group finds Will hiding behind a waterfall. He is sad and shaking in terror while telling the group that all the men got killed while they were protecting him. He tells them about the army of monsters that attacked him and about a black dragon. When the group leaves the waterfall, they get attacked by the black dragon. While Yue uses her magic to protect everyone else, Hajime impressively and single-handedly subdues the dragon. The dragon tells him that she meant no harm, and that she was controlled by a man in a black robe who made her kill so many men. She says she will pay for her sins, but could also help them avenge the robed man, who is gathering an army of thousands. She also returns to her true form of a woman and introduces herself as Tio. After much convincing from Aiko, Hajime agrees to participate in the battle against the robed man. He makes the women and children of the village evacuate and sets up a fortress around it. He, Tio, Yue, and Shay stand atop it and face the army of 60,000 as it makes its way toward them. The group of 4 uses magic and Hajime's weapons to annihilate the army easily. Hajime goes amongst the army troops and looks for the black-robed man controlling it. He brings him to Aiko, who is shocked to see that he is one of her students, Shimizu. Even though she is in shock, Aiko is still not angry. He says he did this because he wanted to show Aiko that he could be great. He holds her hostage and wounds her with a poisoned sword. This angers Hajime, who kills him. Shay and Hajime set an old talking fish free, which warns them about slavery in the town. Hajime senses a creature and discovers a merfolk in the sewers. She is Mew, who had got captured by the slave dealers and had gotten lost on the way. Hajime returns her to the authorities, but the slave traders capture her once again. Hajime seeks help from Yue and Tio to look for Mew. They find her, and then Yue eradicates the slave traders' hideouts. In this way, Mew gets rescued, and the slave traders' business is put to an end. Mew embraces Hajime and refers to him as Papa. Endo approaches Hajime for help. He tells them that Shizu and Kaori, along with some other students, were deceived by a demon who invites them to join her. When they refuse, she unleashes her monsters on them. The students try to take control of the situation, but it gets out of hand. The monsters keep coming, and one of the students gets killed too. Shizu asks Endo to use his assassin skills to go to Meld, their mentor, and ask for help. While trying to protect Endo from a monster, Meld gets severely injured and seems to be dying. Desperate for help, Endo begs Hajime. However, Hajime shows no interest. He remembers that these were the same people who had betrayed him. In the labyrinth, Shizu and Kaori protect each other as a monster attacks them. There is pandemonium in there, and everyone is too stunned about what to do next. Right when all hope seems lost, Hajime, who has a change of heart, appears and saves his old friends. Kaori gets shocked upon seeing Hajime. While Hajime's crew protects the students, Hajime deals with the monsters. He uses his guns and agile skills to kill them all. He also kills the demon's healer, weakening her. All the students are in shock. They cannot believe Hajime is the same person. After Hajime kills all the monsters one by one, he finally stands in front of the demon. He wonders how a demon ended up in the depths of the labyrinth. The demon tells him that if he kills her, her lover would find him and kill him. Hajime confidently replies that he does not care and will kill anyone who becomes his enemy. Then, he kills the demon. Yue uses her powers to heal Meld, who luckily stays alive. Miyu refers to Hajime as Papa in front of Kaori, upsetting her. Kaori inquires Hajime about his love life and also confesses her love to him. Hajime tells her he cannot reciprocate her feelings because he is already in love with Yo. Kaori tells Hajime she will join him on his journey forward and love him more than anyone else. Yo likes this challenge and invites her. Hajime, Yue, Shay, Tio, and Miyu continue their journey with their new member, Kaori. Will Hajime be able to go into the other labyrinths and unlock the door that will lead him back to his home? Let us find out in the next season.